Nobody cares about what's properly rated. Everybody is either complaining about how so-and-so is overrated or complaining that so-and-so is underrated. We don't want to get into the complaint game, but there are certainly some WWE wrestlers we feel have gotten short shrift, or you could just call them underrated. Here are the 10 most underrated wrestlers that WWE has to offer, also hoping that they will one day get their rightful recognition. Poor Rusev has been somewhat adrift since returning from his injury. People tend to gush over those who are physically imposing but still athletic, and that's exactly what Rusev is. On top of that, recently he's shown more personality than ever. What with his Rusev Day celebrations and kinship with Aiden English, now's the time to push Rusev and maybe not have him job to Randy Orton. How would you feel about a Rusev and Randy Orton feud? Let me know in the comments. While Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows were pretty big in Japan with the Bullet Club, they have come to WWE and pretty much languished. The duo is not even in the title picture and instead are stuck doing comedy matches with Rhino and Heath Slater. They used to pal around with AJ Styles, and that helped give them a boost. Their other former Bullet Club member Finn Balor is still on Raw, but they never cross paths. Even though Finn Balor might be against it, the three not having joined up at this point feels like a mistake. Gable was the better member of American Alpha. While Jason Jordan is a fine wrestler, Gable is better, and his size makes his work all the more impressive. Plus, while Jordan is a zero as a personality, Gable at least shows flashes of, well, something. Jordan is on Raw, currently having the opportunity to be involved in the main event at Survivor Series, while Gable is tagging with Shelton Benjamin to possibly end up losing to the Usos. If only someone in the back could figure out how to present Apollo Cruz to the audience. He's a great talent, and he has skills to be a star. He just doesn't have much going on, and teaming with Titus O'Neil is something, but it's not necessarily a gimmick, and it doesn't help spotlight what Cruz does well. What he needs is a mouthpiece like Paul Heyman who can connect to the audience, then maybe Cruz would finally be able to get over like he should be. Tyler Breeze and Fandango used to be underrated, but then the Fashion Files happened and they blew up. However, their comedy partners Victor and Connor deserve more love. Sure, a lot of the humor comes from their menacing, horror-tinged look juxtaposed with their rants about Glutton and Eddie Money, but they sell it. They aren't bad wrestlers, and they were champs in NXT for a long time for a reason. If only they ever got a chance on the main roster. Miz gets plenty of deserved love, Bo Dallas is fine, but Curtis Axel deserves a little more shine in the Miztourage. He may not be underrated for long, as some fans seem to be behind him like a cult, but there's a reason for that. Despite his role consisting of taking a beating so the Miz doesn't have to, Axel does it with aplomb, and he does the most with the moment that he has. He brings little doses of humor into his Miztourage duties, and we should all enjoy calling him underrated while we still can. It's not necessarily that Kofi Kingston doesn't get any love, because he absolutely does. He has just simply become the overlooked member of the New Day. With Big E's size and personality, he's always going to get attention. Recently, Xavier Woods has been given the "he's underrated" push from people, which has now made him no longer underrated. Kingston, though, remains solid and does his job without the attention. Let's all stop taking Kofi for granted. Frankly, you could do an entry called "Every Cruiserweight Who Can Actually Wrestle" because the whole group is largely underrated. Olly may be the most underrated of the bunch though. He may dress like a knockoff Power Ranger, but the guy can really wrestle. He didn't invent the 450, but he sure did invert it, and it is an amazing finisher, and if WWE knew how to book a cruiserweight, he'd be getting some real attention. It would seem silly to make a big deal about how many underrated cruiserweights there are and only mention one, so let's throw Alexander in here as well. He's a great competitor naturally with tremendous in-ring ability. The problem is that he's never been given a gimmick or a hook. He's just a guy who wrestles well. When they did give Alexander something to do, it revolved around a love triangle with Alicia Fox and Noam Dar, which really was a disaster. Maybe the reason Alexander is underrated is that we've been all trying to forget about that. It seems fitting to end with the perennially underrated Ryder. The only problem for Ryder is that WWE has been doing most of the improper rating of him. He's worked hard to get himself over, he was the internet champion for a reason, but it has rarely paid off for all that long. Ryder can still wrestle and he can still tap into his Long Island personality, but he's stuck in a go-nowhere tag team with Mojo Rawley, one of the many perils of being underrated. And these were 10 underrated WWE superstars. I hope you're all having an amazing day. Thank you so much for watching Wrestling Hub, and as always, I will see you later with more wrestling videos.